What's up, gang? My audio corrupted, so we're post-comming this. I'm sorry. I don't like to do it either, but it's what I gotta do. Taking on Yubby this week. We're bringing the bulky Torn pivot with the Tailwind, try to counter Sand. We have fast attacking Lando, try to wall break. We've got AV Metagross to take on, special Kieran Black if it shows up Iron Moth, Greninja. We got Specs, Walking Wake with Proto Special Attack, just try to hit as hard as possible. We're TERA Water this week. We're Boots Ninetales, just to set up the Sun, maybe take on Iron Moth a little bit, maybe pivot, get a little pivot into Wake with Baton Pass, and our physically defensive Avalug, take on Kieran Black and Tyranitar and Excadrill, and we're Terra fighting this week. We see the Sand Core from him, exactly what I was expecting. I'm gonna lead Metagross, expecting like either Kieran Black or a Tyranitar or an Iron Moth lead, because we're Assault Vest, kind of take on Iron Moth, and he does lead Kieran Black. This week, I decided to run, as you'll see here, I decided to run Meteor Mash over Heavy Slam just because it would do more damage to Kyurem. Because Heavy Slam was doing like no damage into it because of how heavy Kyurem is. And, I'm just gonna go for a little Meteor Mash here. We see that he switches out into the Slowking, and he's not gonna take too much from this. I bring up the ruler here and see that it does about 20%. And here I can either stay in and go for another one, or I can switch out. I'm expecting like a Chilly Reception here, maybe a Scald, and I'm just thinking, who am I kind of okay taking a Scald burn with here? And I eventually decide that I'm gonna go Torn to take it on. And we see that he doesn't go for Scald, but instead he goes for Thunder Wave, which is gonna kind of hurt my Torn a little bit. And a running theme you'll see in this game is that there's going to be a lot of Tornadus and Slowking in front of each other on the screen, and a lot of switching between them. And the Paralyze kind of sucks for me, but I'm still faster than this. Torn being a pretty quick guy, and Slowking not really on the quick maneuvers, if you will. Here I'm just trying to think what I want to do. I go for Bleak Wind. Does about a third, keeps his Regenerator, keeps him right about where he is. And he just chillies out. And he chills out into KB, which you'll see here in a second. Which puts me in a pretty bad spot. He can Icicle Spear me, he could decide to go for a Scale Shot on this turn. I just decided to go back into Metagross, get back into that turn 1 sort of matchup, expecting an Icicle Spear, maybe Ice Beam, something of that sort. As we'll see here in a second, he actually goes for Earth Power, and I find out off of this damage roll that he is max special attack. Like, he's hit me real hard. I'm just thinking, I don't really have anything to switch super well into this. I could go Landorus, I could try to go back into Torn, but then I'm still in a pretty bad spot. Excuse me. And so I just decide, I'm just gonna stay in. I'm gonna take more damage on my Metagross, and I'm gonna go for a Meteor Mash just to try to gauge what he wants to do. And he's just gonna go for another Earth Power, and it's gonna put me down real, about 20%ish. Now we see that he's Berry Berry, and I do not do a whole lot of damage here. I believe off of that we found out that he was like max HP, max special attack. Which was not something I was expecting. I end up going for Bullet Punch here just to get some last second chip. As in my mind, Metagross has already kind of done its job, sort of slowing down Kyurem. Yeah, here we go for the Bullet Punch. It does about a fourth, and it takes me out with Earth Power. And KB claims First Blood. Yeah, I end up kind of, in the long run, I end up regretting losing Metagross this early, because it could have helped with, some things like Excadrill, or could have maybe done something. But we go into Wake here, and I'm just gonna, click Dragon Pulse, try to get a big hit off. In hindsight, I should have been Terra Dragon, and this turn I should have Terra'd and gone for a Draco Meteor. But we try Water this week, like I said. because he goes into Slowking, and if I could have KO'd Slowking this turn, that would have been amazing. But instead, I go for Dragon Pulse and he lives. And I'm just thinking, I'm going to go for it again. I did a whole lot. No need to really overplay. We didn't see Alchemy this week, so there's no immunities to dragon moves. Yeah, I'm just going to go for Dragon Pulse again, as he goes into Tyranitar and takes not a whole lot. And being Terra'd would have really helped, but like I said, just not how it ended up working out. Here I do a little bit of thinking as to what I want to do, you know, how much am I going to take from this, could I just stay in? But I ultimately end up going into Avalugg. I'm thinking about, you know, do I want to go into Landers, get Intimidate off, what do I think he's going to do? And I end up just ultimately deciding to go into the Avalugg Hisui. Dang, I should take my time, what the heck? I end up going to the Avalugg, like I said. He ends up going for knockoff, he takes away my boots, you know, my Jordans, what the heck, dude. I was wearing those. And I just decide here, I'm just gonna body press. Kinda, I can see the Slowking coming in here. But I didn't really want to make a prediction. I was also thinking about maybe going for Avalanche on like a Bramble Gas play. But, you know, after my whole minute long little think sesh here, I do end up just going for the body press. Into that Slowking, which is in. Does not take a whole lot. He's gonna take a little bit of Sand Chip, but nothing too incredible. Of course, I cannot touch this thing, and I don't really want to absorb another T-Wave or, you know, get scalded or anything, so I'm gonna go back into Torn. And you know, the Slowking will repeatedly kind of have me in a bad spot this whole game, because I don't really have a whole lot that can take it out because of me not being Terra Dragon Wake. And so I keep going into Torn on this. He does go for Scald, and we take it all right. We get Sand Chipped. But like I said, this Slowking, I can't really do much to it, unfortunately. Here I'm just thinking, I'm gonna go for another Bleak Wind. Try to keep his Regenerator health at a minimum. Not let him get too healthy here. And he ends up hard switching here, I do believe. And he goes into Bramblegast, which I did not think of in the moment. But Bramblegast completely walls me out because he has Wind Rider, which is something I did not think about whatsoever. And here I'm kind of like, I'm doing some calcs and I'm like, okay, if he's max attack, he kind of just claims a Pokemon here with the Wind Rider. You know, not really thinking about, because here I was thinking like, okay, if I go Avalugg, you know, how much am I taking? And I was taking a little too much, he just KO'd me after. Yeah, but I wasn't thinking in the moment about, you know, my Avalugg doesn't have an item. I could just go into it because Poltergeist can't touch it. And here I make a last second decision to go into Landorus instead. Which, like I said, I should have gone Avalugg on this Poltergeist because I wouldn't have taken any damage. But I ended up taking about half. I found out that he is not max attack. He actually has no attack investment based off that damage. And, you know, I just took half on my Landers for nothing, basically. Here, I'm just gonna U-turn, and I take Rocky Helmet Chip. You know, just trying to not let my Landers go down this early, because I still think it can put in a lot of work. Here, I'm looking at Avalugg, and I was thinking, okay, well, I should have gone there, but he might Power Whip this turn, so I think Torn's just a better play. And he doesn't actually attack, he goes for Strength Sap, and he gets back to full HP. Which, you know, fair enough. You know, I decide, like, you know, I can't really touch this thing, so I just need to U-turn out. And he ends up switching out, he goes back into the Slowking, or back here again. U-turn, I do about, you know, a little bit. I see this as an opportunity to get back into Walking Wake, and just to click another big button here. And here, I decided to go for the Draco. Hopefully catching like Tyranitar wanting to switch in again, or maybe taking this out. And I made the joke that I was like, hey, if he goes Kieran Black, that would be amazing, because Kieran Black had put me in such a bad spot earlier. And if he's like the scale shot set, he could be like scale shot special attacking, which would be pretty scary for my team. But I was honestly just hoping he would stay in. But he does switch out, and he goes into the Kieran Black like I mentioned. And we're gonna take this thing out with this Draco. And I was pretty over the moon about this. Because, you know, his round 1 pick that he took from me, by the way, I was gonna pick that up if it was TERA allowed. If it wasn't, like it isn't in this league, I was gonna pick it up round 2, but Yubby took it from me. No hard feelings though, it's chill. Yeah, he's gonna let his KB go down here. And after, you know, he deliberates a little bit, he's gonna go into Tyranitar. And I kind of got to switch out here. You know, I just decided, like, you know, it worked earlier, it'll work again. I'm going to go back into Avalugg, tank anything he wants to go for. And I'm thinking, like, he could be, like, Fire Blast. That, you know, pretty strange. But he just goes for Stealth Rock. You know, trying to get some chip damage on my team, trying to wear me down. And I'm just going to spin him here. I'm not really afraid of this thing. And after Rapid Spin, I'll be faster and I can recover and I can TERA if I need to. But he switches out back into the Slow King. And, you know, I Rapid Spin, I get the speed boost and I get the rocks away. He takes a little bit more Sand Chip, and I just go back into Torn and I repeat the process. You know, I'm checking how many sand turns or whatever. And I just go back into Torn, and we're here again. And he Chilly Receptions out, which is honestly okay. You know, I'm not taking more chip. And here he's going to go into his Iron Moth, which puts me, again, in a pretty bad position. As he's going to activate his booster energy, which you'll see in a second. He'll activate his booster energy and you'll get a speed booster activation. And I'm kind of put on the back foot here, because I don't have anything that's faster. And I don't have anything that really wants to take the hit. And so here I'm thinking, you know what? I'm gonna go for Tailwind. I can live any one hit because he's not special attack boosting. He goes for the Fiery Dance. You know, I take it decently well. He gets a special attack buff, and I get paralyzed. So Tailwind's not going up. And basically, I'm just thinking, who do I need the least on my team? Or how do I escape the situation? And the thing I kind of come to the conclusion of is my only way out is to go into Ninetales, kind of sack it off, because it can take it decently well, and then go into Wake after, and then try to just live the hit. Like, that's really all I had. So here, I'm going to go into Ninetales on another Fiery Dance. I'm going to take it okay, not incredibly, and he doesn't get a special attack boost. And this ends up pretty much saving the game. I think at this point, if he got another special attack boost with the booster speed, I just lose. I don't know if there's a whole lot I could have done from that position, because things are chipped. You know, my Wake is not speed boosting this week, and even if it was, it would be faster than me. But he just goes for Sludge Wave and he takes out my Ninetales, and then I'm gonna go into Wake and just click Hydro Steam. Here I was basically just like, you know, excuse me, sorry. I either have to TERA, predicting Dazzling Gleam, or I have to stay non-TERA'd if I think he has Energy Ball, or if he'll just Sledge Wave. And I eventually settle on not Terastallizing here, because I figured if he goes for Energy Ball, I had a better chance of living a Dazzling Gleam without TERAing than I did of Energy Ball if I did TERA, and if he Energy Balled, then I would have lived anyway if I don't TERA. And just try to hope that I can live a move here. And as we'll see here in a second, he goes for Sludge Wave, so he doesn't even have one of the two moves, like he doesn't go for it. And I take out the Iron Moth, and I get out of the situation with a Walking Wake on its last limbs, if you will. And so here, he kind of just gets a free turn into Tyranitar, excuse me. because he can just set the sand back up, and based on the damage earlier, he knows that I know that I won't KO it with another Hydro Steam. So he kind of just forces me out, and he wears off my photosynthesis. Yeah, here I choose to switch out, go back into Avalug. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, and he's actually going to make a double into Slowking here, which is a good play on his part, because you know I just made this like kind of auto switch every single time to Avalug, and he's kind of got me in his hands right now. Like he's kind of pulling the strings. He goes into Slowking, takes a little sand chip, but it doesn't matter. He's full health. And you know I have to switch again, and so I'm gonna go into Torn. You know, just try to kind of cut the damage that he's gonna do to me here. As he goes for a Scald, I do believe. Yes, he does, and he puts me, you know, right above half after sand. And here I'm just gonna try a Tailwind again. You know, the sand is up, and the Excadrill's looking scary here, and I actually get it off this time. And he goes for the Chilly Reception, and he's going to Chilly out here. He's got Chilly Reception, and he's gonna Chilly out into the Bramblegast, which puts me in the bad spot again because I can't Bleak Wind, and if I've got Heat Wave, I can't use that either because that's counted as a wind move. And so here, I just decide to go for a U-turn, not try to overplay. I find out I'm faster, so he's got like no speed. I take Rocky Helmet Chip, but we regen that off for the most part. And this time, I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna go for Poltergeist. Let me go into my Pokemon with no items on it. So I go into the Avalug. As he goes for Poltergeist, and it fails. And I decide, or I think about doubling here into Torn because the Slowking play is just so obvious and it's so free. And you know, I'm hovering over it, thinking about it, but I eventually end up just clicking Avalanche. Because I was like, if he stays in, then Avalanche is better, but he ends up just going into Slowking, and I've gotten pretty much no use out of my Tailwind here. I just go back into Torn. We're at this matchup again. And he's gonna Scald me down again to about half. And then we're in that situation again of like, you know, my Tailwind's gonna peter out. He can just Chilly out if he wants, he could just Scald again. And here I'm just thinking, you know, I don't want Tyranitar to come in, set up the sand, and just insta lose to Excadrill. But I also want to get damage on this thing and not let it regen up like all the way back to full. And I eventually, I believe I settle for going for Tailwind. I do. And I get it off. And then Scald is going to take me down to about 73, Snow's gone. And here, I'm just trying to sack off Torn. I want to get back in my Walking Wake. I want to click a big button again. And, you know, this thing's kind of standing in my way as far as that goes. So I do end up going for Bleak Wind here. And we do connect. It's incredible. We get the speed drop, doesn't really matter. He goes for Foul Play. And he takes out my Torn. And here I'm just like, I gotta get back into Wake. I gotta click Draco Meteor again. And just, if he stays in, I KO him and it's great. If he switches out, something's taking a big Draco. And he does end up switching into the Tyranitar here, who's going to live 1 Draco, but he's not going to live 2. So I go for the Draco. He's low. And I see here that I can live another turn of sand. And so I decide, after some deliberation, I'm thinking like, you know, I could Draco again. I could go into Avalug, but then if I go Avalug, where does that get me? And then I go back and forth between it a lot. I eventually land on just clicking Draco again and taking out the Tyranitar here. In hindsight, I think going Avalug and playing it slow might have been better, but I just didn't know what to do in this situation. And the Tailwind peters out here, and I don't know. I didn't want my Avalug taking more damage, and I was afraid of like a special move. But in comes Excadrill, and here I'm like, I need to not lose to Excadrill. I need Walking Wake to take out Slowking. And Avalug can theoretically beat out Excadrill here. So I sack Landorus, try to get to the Intimidate off, but he reveals Clear Amulet, and he just Iron Heads and takes me out. So I don't even get the Intimidate, but I have no other play than to go into Avalug and just hope that I can kind of weather the Excadrill storm here, if you will. And I'm just looking like, do I think he's going to switch? Do I think he's going to go into Bramblegast? Eventually, I settle on going for TERA fighting, going for the body press, try to take this thing out. He could stay in, try to Iron Head me, because Iron Head will KO me at this point if I don't TERA. I don't remember if he ever revealed, or he didn't TERA this game. I don't remember what his TERA type is, but he never used it. I think he was TERA Ice, and so body press also covered the TERA Ice play. And so I go for the TERA fighting. He goes for Iron Head, and he flinches me. I thought about it a little bit. I think if he, because my body press KOs him for sure here. I'm pretty sure if he doesn't flinch me with Iron Head, I have an okay chance of winning this game. But with that flinch, that pretty much secures that I lose the game. Because now he can just go into Slowking, and this Slowking can just kind of wall my Avalug until the cows come home. Sand's gone. Doesn't really matter. I click recover here, I believe, just to try to, try to take this thing on. But like I said, getting flinched there was pretty big. I end up, spoilers at this point, like this is not spoilers, but I do end up losing this game 3-0. This Slowking was just way too much for me to break. He revealed after the game that he had some devious EVs. I'm talking like devious. He was like a little bit of everything on it. I mean, it was perfect. Here I misplay and I'm like, I want to recover, try to get more health back. But I knew at the time that it was a roll from like half, and he just takes me out, and I'm risking a burn, and I agreed too much for the health. GG's to my man. He played it excellent. I think there was more I could have done maybe. I think sacking Metagross early kind of sucked a little bit. And then just being under prepped for Slowking was pretty bad for me. He goes into Excadrill here as I go for Dragon Pulse because I can't log into a water move because of Bramblegast. And at this point I need a crit or something to win, and I don't get it, and Excadrill takes it home. Yeah, like I said, he played super well. Yeah, great games to my man. Make sure to check him out down in the description along with the rest of the coaches. Show him some love. And I'll be back next week versus the Kippy and his Steel City Surge. Hopefully I can turn the season around. 3 straight losses has been pretty tough on me, but I'll bounce back. I can't let the 3 losses really go to my head too much. I gotta stay strong and really stay in there, for playoffs. So, next week we're going against the Kippy. We're gonna turn the season around, all right? But until then, y'all have a good one. See you later.